This was me 3 months ago. And at this point, I'd lost quite a bit of my strength. I wasn't training consistently. And even though lifting weights was something that I'd been doing for 10 years, I knew it was time for a reset and I needed to start from scratch. So I gave myself just one goal: show up to this space, my home gym, for at least 4 days a week, lift some weights, do that every week for 3 months, and then see what happens. Just a quick recap, if you're only joining in now, this is the setup that I was working with. I was lucky enough to be able to turn some space in the garage into a home gym. It's a super simple setup, free weights only. We've got the rack with the barbell, which allows for all the compound lifts. And then I've also got a dumbbell set too, which lets me just have a bit of variety to the exercises that I can do. And the goal is to slowly just add to this as I go. And basically I did a 4-day split with a push, pull, legs, and then a 4th day where I did compound lifts only, so that I could hit the whole body. And this day was usually lower reps to focus on strength. I did track this all in a journal because it's super useful being able to just see what you did the week before and decide whether you want to just push it a little bit heavier or not. And it also means that you don't have to rely on memory. I hate turning up to a workout, trying to remember what I did the day before and then program it in my head that day. This was all written out, planned for me to go. I just, again, turned up into the garage, did what it was telling me to do. So for on the days that I did a push, pull, or a leg day, I focused on about 8 to 10 reps because I didn't want to purely lean into strength training. I wanted a little bit of muscular endurance as well. So yeah, 3 months of doing just that. And like I said, it was nothing too fancy. These workouts were also really quick. They only had about 4 to 5 exercises each day. I was done in about 45 minutes to maybe an hour if I was taking a bit longer. So let's talk about the results. I'm going to start with my strength gains because that was probably the most important thing with me doing this 3-month thing. I just wanted to get my strength back because I felt I had lost quite a bit of it. So again, this is why writing everything down in a journal or a book or something is really handy, because you can see just how far you've come. In the first week with my squats, I was doing about 20 kilos. When I was doing 20 kgs, I was doing 8 reps of those for 3 sets. And in the very last leg day that I had, I was squatting 47.5 kilos. I did 6 of those reps for 3 sets. So the reason it was a lower rep was because I tend to go in the range of about 6 to 10 reps. If I'm approaching the 10 rep mark and they're becoming easy, I just increase the weight. I believe that's called progressive overload. So I had just recently made it to 47.5 kilos, and that's why I could only do 6 reps. That is really exciting, seeing those results. The squat being 20 kilo in the beginning, I'm sure I could have done a bit more than that, but it had been so long that my technique was off. And when your technique's bad, you can't really do proper form, so you do have to lower the weight. And I just spent the last 3 months really making sure that the squat became a more comfortable move for me, because I've said before, it's my least favorite movement. And to see that now getting really close to 50 kilos is really nice. I think I'll be squatting over 50 quite soon. But yeah, for 3 months, really happy with that improvement. Moving on to my bench. So in the beginning, bench press was 25 kilos. I was able to do 10 reps of that for 3 sets. So that was obviously something I was comfortable doing if I could do 10 reps. Now with my latest chest day, I was doing 37.5 kilos. I was able to get 6 reps for 3 sets. So again, pushing it to the higher end of the weight range for me. Bench is a tough one to just keep steadily increasing, and I was just really hoping to get near 40 kilos by the end of this, and I was about 2.5 kgs there. Really happy to see those numbers with bench. Now with deadlifts, my first week doing them, I was on 35 kilos, 8 reps for 3 sets. The heavier I get with deadlift, the more I realize doing more reps isn't great. It increases the risk of injury as well. The really cool thing is that my last lifting session of this 3-month period, I was able to do 60 kilo deadlifts, 6 reps for 3 sets. Super happy with that because that is very close to what I was lifting before I had lost all this strength. With deadlift, I don't really like going over 6 reps. Again, it's just a bit risky of an exercise. If you aren't doing it right, if you're doing it too heavy, you're just increasing your risk of injury. But as a movement, I do really like it, which is why I keep continuing on with it. I just make sure to not ego lift. And the last exercise is pull-ups. In the very beginning, it was a struggle to get even 2 reps. Now I'm able to get just 5. Not a huge increase, but I'm pretty happy with 5 because pull-ups are very difficult. I think the reason this isn't going up as impressively is because with pull-ups, it's more so how often you practice them. It's a movement and technique thing as much as it is a strength thing, and I only really do them twice a week. I don't think that's enough to really improve, but I added it to this whole strength metric because there was the compound lifts. They don't really show how strong your back is, and I have been working on my back a lot, and 5 pull-ups is great. I will continue to work on this. My goal is 10. It'll be rough, but I love pull-ups, they're fun. Now, I did want to point out that I did a check-in video about halfway through this challenge to see where I was at, and if you missed that one, you can go watch it, it's in the description. But I won't lie, between that halfway point and now, the progress has definitely slowed down, and that's pretty expected because the first few weeks of this was a lot of muscle memory kicking in. Like I said, I have been lifting weights for about 10 years, so there was a lot of residual strength already there. It just needed to be kick-started, and in those first few weeks, it really did come back, and that's why I had pretty steep increases to strength. It's not going to just keep going on like that forever. The heavier the weights get, the more strength is going to be needed to make that progress. And that's why if you did see that check-in video, these numbers now that I went through with the 3-month mark, they're not that much higher. And it is easy to feel quite deflated when you feel that progress is slowing down, but there is just no way around that. It's normal, it's part of the process. The main thing is that you just continue to keep chipping away at it. But all in all, I'm really happy with where my strength is right now. I'm feeling pretty much back to where I was at before I lost all that strength. And I'm feeling like my form is a lot better as well. I just feel personally so much stronger, and that's a pretty good feeling. So I'm glad I did this. Now, I did say at the beginning that increasing my strength was the main goal here. I wasn't someone that needed to focus on weight loss, and you will notice I haven't really tracked any of my weight. I haven't talked about the number on the scales. That wasn't really needed for this training block at all. But I will let you know, I am pretty much the exact same weight right now as I was 3 months ago at the beginning of this. And that's good because that just means body recomposition has been going on. I've lost some body fat and I've replaced that with some muscle. So this is what things are looking like after 3 months. It's not like a drastic change. I'm gonna put a side by side of the before and after. I took them both in the same spot, so that will help with comparisons. But like I said, it's not a drastic difference, and there are people out there that get way more impressive physical changes in 3 months. Like I know lots of transformation programs are about 3 months, and they may get the more drastic changes, but I don't know if they're as sustainable in the long term. What I've done is a very minor change for me that I can hopefully keep doing for the long term and just continue this trajectory of progress. But also the goal wasn't to get super shredded or lean or lose a lot of body fat. The goal was to get strong again, and I have done that. And there definitely is more muscle mass on my body, and that was the main goal, so I'm happy about that. But yeah, there's the update. So if you've made it this far, first of all, thank you. But also, here are the key takeaways from the last 3 months. 1, muscle memory is your best friend, and it really is amazing. If you're someone who has a history of training and you want to get back into it, progress does come back pretty fast. But if you're completely new, you can start working on that muscle memory right now. It's never too late. 2, the most important lesson here is consistency matters more than anything. I don't care what workout you do. I don't care what weights you're lifting. I don't care what fancy equipment you have. You just need to make sure that you keep turning up day after day, week after week, and eventually month after month. The next lesson I learned was the importance of tracking workouts. It really is helpful. Just write down what you're doing, what weights you lifted, how many reps and sets, and then you can track your progress and see how far you've come. And you don't need to remember what you did the last workout session, so it frees up some brain space for you. The next thing, I've really come to enjoy using free weights. I used a lot of machines before I did this challenge, and that's because I went to an actual commercial gym. And while I still love machines because they're good fun, free weights, they help with strength and also coordination. So they have really good benefits and they're simple to get a hold of and put it in your home if you have space for that. The fact that the gym was just in the garage for me made it so much easier to actually be consistent. So if you're someone that doesn't like having to go somewhere, consider setting it up in your home if you can. The day-to-day is going to be boring. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And it's not exactly exciting content either, which is why I didn't film every single workout I did. But the results, they're worth it and they're motivating enough to keep you going, hopefully. Now, you may also have noticed I didn't talk too much about nutrition, and that was on purpose because nutrition is really a bit different for everyone. I didn't actually change up a whole lot of how I was eating. I basically did two main things. I made sure I had enough protein on most days. I definitely missed some days, but that's fine. And I made sure that we had majority home-cooked meals. We only really had takeout on Saturday nights and we tried to stick to that rule. Again, we weren't perfect with this, but I followed these two rules and that, I think, has really contributed to the progress that I made. I don't believe in diets or anything like that. I don't believe in cutting out food groups or starving yourself. Just balanced eating and listening to your body. So I guess the next natural question would be, what do I do next? I really like the idea of having 3-month training blocks because they really give you variety with your training and they help you change things up a little bit. So I've got 2 different paths that I can kind of go down for my next 3 months. One would be leaning way more into strength training, and that would mean lowering my reps and lifting pretty heavy. As much as I would like to push that, my body is feeling a little bit stiff from the heavier lifting of the last few weeks, so I'm not sure if that's a great idea right now. The alternative that I'm really probably leaning into is working more on mobility-based training, stepping away from compound lifts for a while, and just doing maybe more single leg, single arm movements and try and work on flexibility, more athletic movements, which I think are a bit more beneficial in the long term. So those are my 2 paths, strength training or mobility-based training. But regardless of which path I take, the main thing that is going to be added is actually some cardio, because I definitely slacked off on that these past 3 months for 2 reasons. 1, it was winter and there was no way I was going to go outside and walk around because it's freezing. And 2, I find it very difficult to make multiple changes at once. So if I was going to really try and get into the habit of going to the gym every day and also add to my plate, do cardio every day, I would have gotten overwhelmed and I would have just probably thrown it all out the door. So regardless of what I do, I'll try and go for some walks a few times a week. I'll probably put the weighted vest back on because I've seen really good results with that in the past. But either way, I will bring you along for the journey and we'll see how we go. Thanks for tuning in to this little challenge. It really did help keep me accountable and force myself to turn up knowing that I had to do these update videos. But I'm hoping that this has motivated at least one person out there to maybe see where consistency can lead them. Like I said, it's boring, but that's almost a good thing. It doesn't need to be perfect or expensive or optimized. Just turn up, make things as easy as you can for yourself. And if you're completely new to exercise, just start small. Maybe just go for a walk, work your way up from there. So that's all I have to say for now. I will of course see you in the next video, and until then, keep playing the long game.